This week's Carolina Outdoor Magazine TV is brought to you in part by Camelback Hydration Systems. Do you have a camel on your back? And by Belay Sportswear and Sunglasses. Also by Buckbuster Scents, scents for the serious hunter. And by Carolina Outdoor Hunting and Fishing Supply, hunting and fishing products at an affordable price.
Hey everyone, Jim here from Carolina Outdoors, and what I'm doing is I'm getting ready tomorrow to head on out. I'm going to meet Caleb Rice from Table Rock Outdoors, and we're going to head to Lake Norman and do some bass fishing. We're going to try to catch some largemouth. We're going to try to catch some spots. And one thing I'd like to show you in this video is a little bit about what I do to prepare myself for getting ready for an upcoming fishing trip. Now this isn't a fishing trip where we're going to be going off for a few days or anything like that. It's just going to be a early morning into mid-afternoon fishing trip. But you know, when I get out there on the boat, there's so many other things that you have to do, you know, as far as reading the depth finder, looking for fish, and reading the water, and just in general seeing what the animals and the fish are doing out there, that I don't want to take time to have to get my rods ready. So the evening before, I try to do that and try to have myself all prepared and have it in my mind what I'm going to fish with that day. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what I'm going to catch fish on, but it will help me to be better prepared when I do hit the water. Now, one thing I'm taking with me is I usually try to take, when I'm going fishing like this, I usually try to take me a bait casting reel, okay, for throwing heavier stuff like jigs and things like that. And I try to have me 2 spin cast reels for, you know, a little bit lighter tackle, like if I wanted to use a floating worm or something like that, or a fluke, you know, with I like to fish a lot with worms and flukes. I like to fish a lot and not use a weight. And let it to me, it's more natural and it entices the strike of a bass a little bit better, I think. Now that's just the way I do it. It doesn't mean that's the way you have to do it. But what I've done is I've gone ahead and what I'm going to start with tomorrow morning, because it's going to be early, and I'm going to start throwing a buzz bait. It's about that time of year, and I'm going to start throwing a buzz bait. Now this is an older type. You don't hear a lot of guys throwing buzz baits, but I still throw them because it's a real effective bait to throw. And for those of you who don't know, it's a top water retrieving bait. You throw it out, and I love dragging these things out across the brush and having a fish come up and suck that thing down. It's really exciting to have that happen. But what happens is you throw that out and you pull across the stump or some structure or some brush, and this blade paddles on top of the water. And as it paddles, it makes a puttering noise, and it causes the fish to come up and strike it. I also like to tip these sometimes with a grub or something like that on the end, and I try to use a color that doesn't match the color I'm using here, and that helps the profile, just shows up a little bit more. And not only that, but when this bait hits the water, you have to get used to engaging your reel and picking it up real quick. You don't want to let it sink down. It's a top water bait, and by adding a bait on the back, a plastic bait on the back, it just makes it so it doesn't sink so fast. So that's one thing I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to be throwing a buzz bait tomorrow, and one of my favorite baits to throw, amongst others. And one thing I like to do to prepare, because this may not be the bait I'm going to use all day long. So what I like to put on the very end, if you look at that bait, if the camera picks it up, I have a clip on there. And I like using them clips. They're stainless steel and they're darker colors, so they kind of match the water. But with that clip, it allows me to change baits really, really quickly. Like if I wanted to use a jig or something like that, I could change it out real quick and not have to keep on tying. Now I'm going to be fishing, like I said, up with Caleb. So the name of the game is to keep ahead of him catching fish. Okay, that's going to be the name of the game. And we'll just see how that ends up after the day's over with. Another rod I like to use, like I said, is this here is a spin cast reel. It's a Berkeley rod. Real nice medium action Berkeley rod. It has a Tikka open face reel spooled with, this is 8-pound test line. The reason I like 8-pound test line is I use this rod a lot for throwing my plastic baits. Like you probably have saw a show that we did recently where I was throwing just a plastic swim bait. I was actually crappie fishing, and it just seemed like the spots were just taking over. So I kept on throwing it, and that thing was only about 2.5, 3 inches long. It wasn't very big, but that's what they wanted. And I had 8-pound test line on there, and that allowed it to act really natural. And I'd throw that swim bait out and retrieve it, and they were hitting that thing like crazy. So anyways, these are some of the rigs I like, and there again I'll put a clip on there so I can change my rigs over real quick and real fast. So let me go ahead and let me show you some of the plastic baits that I'll be using. Alright, one of the baits I'm going to use tomorrow is going to be this green pepper looking swim bait, okay? And I've got it rigged. Let me show you this hook. This is a Mr. Twister hook right there, okay? And it's designed so that when you set the hook is supposed to jump up and get into the fish's mouth. But what I like is it's got this needle deal on the end with some barbs. And all you need to do with that is, instead of putting your whole hook through your bait, is you just stick that in the end of your worm like so, and then you come back and you just push your hook on through. And the way that's going to rig up, if I can get this thing here to rig up just the way I want it to there so it looks good, there we go. The way it's going to rig up is going to look just like that, okay, is what it's going to look like. Now I'm going to start off throwing this tomorrow. It's been about a week since I've been down here on this lake fishing, and I don't really know what color the water is, but the color is going to play a key role in what I'm going to be throwing tomorrow. Another bait is a very good bait. There's sponsors on our show, and one that we use all the time is a bait from the Zoom Bait Company, and this is a kind of like a giant crappie jig is what it is. It's white with some silver sparkle on the top and on the bottom, and this is a really good bait. There again, you could rig it the same way. All you'd have to do is just take your Mr. Twister hook and push it here through the end, and then just come out the back just like that with your hook. Now, this bait, colored bait, worked really good a week or so ago when I was fishing. White was working really great, so I may end up going to the white, and the reason I may end up doing that is because right now the shad are spawning, and because they're spawning, they're eating things that look like resemble a shad. I've got these Mr. Twister grubs. I've also got some white flukes. So as you can see, I'm going to kind of capitalize on throwing white baits tomorrow. That may not be what they're on. We'll find out. But with two of us in the boat, we'll be able to, one of us will be able to figure out what the fish are going to be on. And if nothing else works, I'm going to start throwing my reliable crankbait, which is a number 7 rattle trap. And I like this bait for bass fishing, and the reason being is, I don't know if you can hear that rattle, but it has rattles in it. And this will really provoke strikes. It's about the right size for this time of the year. The shad are about that size, so I expect this might be a good bait that I might end up going to. But anyhow, them are some of my secret weapons that I'm going to be using when I'm fishing with Caleb tomorrow. And hopefully they'll keep me ahead of him. We'll see how it works out, but we're going to have a good time. So stay tuned. We're going to be sure we're going out there to film a show, and we'll be sure to upload it to YouTube if you don't get us on any of the local broadcast stations. So thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, hit the like button, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I'm Jim from Carolina Outdoor Magazine TV. We will see you in this video, part 2, on the river in a few days. Thanks for tuning in. Well, Caleb, I don't know how you feel about it, but this is the island I was telling you about, and it's early morning. The sun's just up. I don't know if we ought to, before it gets too hot, maybe go down this side, or you think were they going to be in the shady side? The river channel goes down here, but part of the old river channel also went down that way. So there's river channel on both ends. This is going to be the shady part.
What's our water temp? 72?
And they've been in the sun now for probably a good 2 hours. I guess we could try it real quick.
I'd say let's run down the
Run down and then come back up,
yeah,
and do the shady side, and we'll figure out. Sometimes once you find them, you can go down, and by the time you get down, you come right back up in the same area, and you'll catch the same number of fish again. So
exactly.
I'll let you go ahead and get rigged up, and I'll do the same, and I'll get the trolling motor down, and we'll go ahead and motor on in there.
Sounds like a plan.
Making us work, ain't they? There's days like this I have to ask myself, what would Stanley Carell do? Oh, whoa, what a fighter. Oh, look at that bass. First bass in the boat. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Here we go.
There we go, everybody. Yeah, I've been out here most of the morning telling Caleb about these bass, and he didn't believe me. Well, there he is, Caleb. What do you think, huh?
I see it. Is it not hurting your
It's a good thing we're not fishing a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, is your arm not hurting? I mean, holding that big
I wouldn't bring him to the scales. Oh, man.
Got one in there.
And I want you to see what I'm using, okay? Look, bring your worm up here. Bring that. I want you to see what it took, everybody. Look, this is what Caleb's fishing with, and this is what I'm fishing with, okay?
This ain't fair.
And that's why he took that little bait is beyond me. Hey there, big bird. That one?
Yep.
All right, way to go,
I
Caleb.
don't think it's a big boy, but we got one.
Well, but it's a fish.
Yep, that's not
There you
bad.
go, nice one. Yeah.
Come here, sweet pea.
Took that
little
way.
spot.
What is that, a watermelon worm or
That's actually a green pumpkin green.
what?
Green pumpkin green.
Okay.
Yep. Zoom trick worm. Right off the bank.
Nice. Not a big one, but
Big old monster, huh?
yeah, big old one.
Yeah.
Back the boat out, and that way we don't get in there.
Just saying, if that cast
We-
didn't pull a fish up, then something was wrong.
Right.
It was right on the edge of the bank. Looked
Well-
like it'd been drug in.
If we don't catch at least one or two fish in here, something's really wrong. But well, we'll be back the boat around and we'll redo this again. Maybe the soft and the subtle worm trick is the way we're going to have to go. We've been throwing everything there is to throw today, and the bite's been really hard. It's I think Caleb's gone through about everything there he's got in the store, and
At least 100.
what he hasn't had, I've tried, and nothing's worked. But that's the first decent fish, and by most standards, that's not a big fish, but that's the most decent fish that we've been able to get in the boat today. So, gonna make a swing around when I come back through here. There's a lot of really good water right here, and we don't know what's wrong with the fish today, but they're just not that active. Yes.
Yeah.
Rolling.
Fish. There's another one over there, not right.
That one took crankbait, the old number 7 rattle trap.
Uh-oh. That's a decent one.
Caleb and I were
Yeah.
Caleb and I were talking about coming over here, guys, just because we thought this would be a really nice area. A lot of trees in here and things like that. And there we go. A little bit better spot there. He gobbled that thing up pretty good. there again. They're getting up there in size a little bit.
They're growing.
Growing. All right, your turn. You're up next.
All right. Ladder up.
Ladder up. They're hitting it that hard. You just need to stay with that bait. Apparently, that's a good one to be on.
You gotta have one in it.
You wore that out enough? I'll move down here.
Oh, you just keep on trucking.
Yep. Easy, Caleb. Don't hurt yourself. Oh, he's on the tree. Darn. Spur of the moment, set the hook right in that tree.
Yeah, he had a little thump. That was pretty
Right in
light.
that tree, wasn't he?
Yep. Little dinky thing.
One out of that tree. You know why? Because they're hitting on that subtle worm.
Let's get one for the... Oh, it's too embarrassing to put a little fish like that out on Facebook.
All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. We want to thank you for tuning in. I want to especially thank Caleb Rice from Table Rock Outdoors in Hickory, North Carolina, for joining us and jumping on the boat for today's show. It's been a pleasure. We sure did have a good time out there today fishing with Caleb. And folks, we appreciate you tuning in. Like always, I'm Jim from Carolina Outdoor Magazine TV. We'll catch you somewhere next time in the great outdoors when we do it all again. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh.